does help if I am not muted on my side. Sorry about that. Um, so it does help if there are individuals who are chiming in and, hey, this is what we want to talk about. This is what's going on. Um, why does that say only 2 of 2? You're supposed to be connected to 3. Let me look at the dashboard. See what's going on. That's just streaming. What the heck? Okay. Well, whatever. Um, back to OBS. Alright, so regardless of what the channels thing says, there actually are 3. Those 3 channels: Facebook, um, YouTube, and Instagram. Now, again, if you would like to, if I'm sharing something you can't see the full screen, just take your device, flip it to the side. For the actual video, where it can be found on YouTube, bear with me just one moment. I grab that. If I'm sharing something you can't see the full screen, just take your device, flip it to the side. And the specific reason as to why the mic is sounding like it's double, it is. When I pull up Google Meet, which I should just join and hit that right now, I don't want the camera. I'm okay with the microphone. So the microphone for Google Meet is the webcam, and then the camera is just plain me. So the only way that I will bring up the Google Meet onto the display screen is once I actually have somebody comes in and wants to ask a question. So, I did want to show you a project that I'm working on. I will just say right now, it does look hectic. But sometimes hectic is the only way that works. Oh, before I forget. YouTube link there. Update all titles. At some point, I will have a director, and the director is going to be able to put all this information out there for me, and I can just fly. Now, you probably hear it in my voice, a tad bit of congestion. It's on its way out. The lovely Peanut Gallery is in the house. She helped me with an amazing tea that I had a little bit of it last night and the rest of it this morning. Oh my goodness. When she makes tea, it's something that the taste buds remember and beg for whenever I am not feeling the best. So again, this is open topic or open topic Tuesday Q&A. I will get that reset on the calendar. Oh hey JP. I wanted to show y'all. Screen gonna go a little darker because it's one of my screens. wanted to show you what it looks like. Open project. Chop to shorts. Please tell me it saved all the clips. Yes, it did. Alright, so what does it look like? Looks a bit like can I make that bigger? Where'd it go? Bigger without it taking out the entire screen? Just take out the center of it? Yeah, there we go. And then for all those wondering what the heck is going on YouTube or Facebook, this is so that I can share the same thing on oh shoot, let me see what the halfway point is. That looks about right. What happens? Oh shoot, I can't make it longer. I really would like to make it longer. Oh well. Can't stretch it. Alright. So, to show you a little bit what's going on, just curious how that looks on Instagram. Move it a tad bit to the left. A little bit more. So the very unique thing here is that it's not just a bunch of pictures. It will be for at least 2 minutes, and then you'll hear something. Actually, what happens if I were to drag that way, bring this in like so, and this one fade out like no, just have to do that. Or what can I put in there for, how long is that? Little less than, what is that? That is 330? No. What is that? 348. Alright. What do I have for 348? I keep forgetting that it was sharing. So, 348. Check in the music. Give me length. length. 3 minutes. There's a 320. We could do that. So take this one, pull it out, bring in currents. Forget what current sounds like. What does it sound like? That'll work. Alright, so I have to bring in the copyright for Mr. Philip Anderson. And it's which one? Currents. Pull that over. And music from Currents. Also don't remember. I'll have to go back in my videos to go find the original, because I don't think I put it anywhere else. Anywho, I have the important one matched. So it looks like now, if any of these speak to you, it's a very high possibility that one or more of them are something that God needs you to deal with. So, as you know, I was trying to fill a bit of sound space because I do actually have music for the rest of the video. And it's actually about to kick off about right here. I was trying to get the artist to show up with us, but, oh well.
Father, would you take this cup from me? Father, Father, would you take this cup from me? Let your will be done, not mine. Oh, Father, would you take this cup from me? Let your will be done, not mine. I was blind, but now I see. Now I will do your will. I was broken, then you called me to your will. I will get on my knees, even when the enemy's coming after me. Oh, I will praise you, even when he's trying to kill me. He's trying to kill me. Father, don't take the cup from me. I agree to do your will. Father, please don't take this cup from me, because I agree. I agree. I'll take the cup of suffering, just like the King. The King, he sweated blood in the Garden of Gethsemane. And when he prayed to you, he said, Father, would you take this cup from me? But just like the King, I give up my will. My will doesn't matter. My own will kills me. You heal me. You heal me. You set me free. Whom the sun sets free is is free indeed. Whom the Son sets free is free indeed. Is free indeed. So, Father, would you open my womb for me? I'm barren, please set me free. Father, would you give a son to me so he can be a child of the King? Father, let me add to your family. Put your trust in me. Father, what would I do without you? What would I do without you and your love? Everything I have, it belongs to you.
You forget to unmute yourself. I'm so sorry, people. I was doing so good, and then it just I wasn't mute. Well, if he was on Google Meet, it would have been unmuted. But everywhere else, sorry about that. It's a learning curve. It is a learning curve. But I was saying my wife wrote that song in May 2023. She gave it to me and I mixed it and I put it together in June 2023. And by July 2023, we were no longer in that house. Yeah. Sometimes sometimes we take a word, we don't think too much about it, and then we wonder why certain blessings that everybody else is getting don't show up. I was just reminded of it by something that's in the Telegram group. Won't mention anybody's name, won't show the screen. But I remember I used to have a really difficult time being able to remember anything. I also had a very difficult time being able to comprehend any of the spiritual. I had the hardest time comprehending why God would do something a certain way. And then each time that individual, or each time that I was in this quandary and trying to figure out why it was the way it is, I'd always say, I just don't understand. I just don't understand why. I just don't understand why. I don't understand why. Just repeatedly. And I wasn't understanding. Anything that I was understanding was very, very slow. So finally, in my meditations, because I had meditations with God almost every morning, if not every other morning. And I'm talking to God. I was like, why is it that I cannot understand things? Why are so many people around me having so many amazing revelations and I am stuck on, I didn't like the answer. Is the answer? Well, you keep saying it. You keep saying you don't understand. I don't like that answer. I seriously don't like that answer. The idea that I have to be careful about what I say all the time? What? Check this out. Give me Bible Gateway. And I'm going to make this long like that. Pull it over here. Oh. Give me just the center. I think it's about right there. And I want to have New Living Translation. So check this out. If you go to, okay, sir, I suppose you kind of have to do what you got to do. Proverbs 13:3. Those who control their tongue will have a long life. Opening your mouth can ruin everything. Well, that ain't fun at all. Okay. All right. Check this out. 26:3. 4, excuse me. Actually, it's 26:2. Like a fluttering sparrow or a darting swallow, an undeserved curse will not land on its intended victim. This one is annoying because it means that if a curse is deserved, if it has a place to land. Okay? Okay? Check this out. 21 verse 23. Watch your tongue and keep your mouth shut, and you will stay out of trouble. Ay. Anybody else feeling mega convicted? Another way of putting this is be careful what you say. Be careful how you say it. Be careful what idle words you speak. Which reminds me, Matthew 12. (36 through 37). And I tell you this, you must give an account on Judgment Day for every idle word you speak. The words you say will either acquit you or condemn you. None of this is very happy news. And thankfully, I have learned. Let me pull that. Let's see. Make it narrower, I think. Yes, and then pull it to the right a bit. The thing about idle words, idle in the Greek means unproductive. However, due to the very sad reality that we're either giving a production in the kingdom of God for our benefit, or we are doing a production for the kingdom of darkness against us. And so this idea of idle words, unproductive words, it has the same idea as one of the Ten Commandments: do not take the Lord's name in vain. Now that doesn't mean what we like it to mean. It doesn't mean swearing. It's a lot deeper. It means do not speak on this earth as if you were God. Do not say that the things that you are talking about are of God, saying it as if you are God, and then putting a curse onto anyone who doesn't believe that you aren't God. Because very simply, at that point, you are taking the Lord's name in vain. That's what it means. So, how in the world do we go from not taking the Lord's name in vain, the idle words we have to give an account of on Judgment Day, that the words we speak are either going to acquit, release, or condemn, or put you to your judgment? How does that come to connection with the long string of things that was shown at the very beginning? By the way, Instagram, sorry, I didn't show the whole bit to you. I just showed you the part that had my wife singing. That particular section, docs, stream information, you can find come on. Might help if I take my phone out from underneath. You can find the full video on YouTube. There we go. That ain't it. Oops. Wrong content. I'm looking for copy. Paste. There we go. I will have to take that one out later. Or unless I can take it out from the phone. Anyways, the whole concept nope, not what I'm looking for. Alright. Idle words. Taking God's name in vain. Curse without cause cannot land. Keep your mouth shut. All those things. Why does Jesus say that you will be held accountable by the words you speak? Very carefully, very succinctly, because you are being watched. You're being watched by the angels. They want to know how long God's mercy is. Because when the angels didn't do as they were told, they got kicked out of heaven. Excuse me, when they didn't do as they were designed, put it that way. When they didn't do as they were designed, they were kicked out of heaven. We, made in the image of God and sometimes acting in the likeness of Lucifer, we are in that image designed to be absolutely perfect, and yet with that mark of sin, we test the very mercy of God on a daily basis, and the angels are watching to see how long is the mercy of God. Because whether we like it or not, God's mercy has an expiration date. The Bible describes the mercy of God as the time when the last Jew returns to Israel. So the timetable between when Israel became a nation to when the last Jew comes in, that is the time of God's mercy. The moment that he has this person in mind, it's the last Jew that comes into Israel, that is when the mercy suddenly shuts off. He calls the saints home. And then every person who's been adding to the cup of his wrath begins to feel what his wrath feels like. So all of the sins of the entire world. I give you an example. God's wrath has been poured out once before through water. Now, the geologists will say that the entire earth, with its land mass, etc., that if you took the entire earth with all the land mass and stretched it out and made it level, that it'd still have majority ocean. But what's very unique in that particular setup is that without having valleys or mountains, it would be difficult for a weather system to go over the entire continent or conglomerate of continents and still have rain by the time it gets to the very end. And for that specific reason, God would cause a mist to rise, a mist come to water the earth. But over the entire earth, there was a great big fountain of the deep, fountain of the skies and fountain of the deep. So when God's wrath got poured out the first time, it completely reshaped every part of the land and ocean. And that particular wrath lasted for 40 days and 40 nights. Up to that point, about 1,000 years had passed between Adam to Noah. So if God's wrath has not been poured out on the earth since then, and that's an approximate 7,000 years ago, can you imagine how long it's going to take for God to pour out his wrath on the earth in such a way that he'll finally run out of wrath to pour on the earth? I gave you a hint. 3.5 years. How long was Jesus' work on the earth? 3.5 years. How's that for a And here's the best part. Jesus had to learn who he was. And then once he was on this earth, then he had to get to the point where he had to grow in wisdom, knowledge, and grace. He was the very first human on this earth to walk in the grace of God for approximately 28 years. Sorry, not 28. 22 years. My math is terrible. One moment. 33.5 minus 12. 21 and a half. He went for 21 and a half years doing absolutely nothing except growing in the grace of God. He was pregnant for 21 and a half years before he began to speak. Not just because of age, but also because, according to the way in which the Jewish culture is, nobody could be recognized or, what's the word? Trusted. Nobody could be recognized or trusted sorry, looking at my electric kettle user manual, to be speaking something of the Bible or be speaking something of the scriptures unless they'd been studying for at least 21 years. Now, there is a very huge significance about that 21.5 years. To show you that, I gotta bring in a new notebook. New window. And bring it about the same. Oh, come on. Take it narrow. About the same setup as. There we go. Specifics as to why you keep seeing a 5, and I'll have to change here shortly, is because 5, the number 5 is what causes the transition to go over to the broadcast screen. But just making sure it can be seen on Instagram. A little further. A little further. There we go. Alright, so 7 years to study. It's a little smaller.
equals able to teach on the, able to stand and serve in the outer court. Alright, that's going to go a little narrower. Right? 14 years to study equals able to stand and serve in the outer and central court. 21 years to study equals able to stand and serve in the inner. I guess that's the inner court when the third one is innermost. What specifically is this? This has to do with the court. Of the Sanhedrin. Also has to do with the tabernacle. So, if we go looking, let me grab that one. The courts of the temple. What are the three courts? Oh, two courts of Solomon's temple. Give me just a few moments here. That's what I'm looking for. The outer court is known as the court of the Gentiles. The middle wall inner court is known as the court of the Israelite women. Then the inner court is the Come on. House of prayer. Alright. For a description of what that looked like, I'm still trying to connect it on. Oh, one moment. Sorry about that, Peppers. Oh, one moment. For some reason, I'm not able to hear you. Might help if I have the correct headset on. There we go. Yes. So, Open Topic Tuesday, what's up? Uh-huh. And? I said, uh-huh, and? And have you forgiven them? Besides that, have you forgiven them? Do you know what Jesus calls? Do you know what Jesus calls forgiveness? What does Jesus call forgiveness? You just said you do. So what is forgiveness? Forgiving which part? Alright, so what are those parts? And how do you do it? But how do you do it? Did you know Jesus actually gives a very specific way as to how to forgive? It is. It would be in Matthew 6. I believe it is 20. Check right quick. But my other question would be, what has you on this quest to name people? It is... Oh, 14 and 15. Matthew 6. Yes. All right. Go ahead and read it. So, what's a trespass? So, have you ever, do you know that the New Testament was written in the Greek? Did you know that? Okay, so every possible word. Yes, yes. So every word of the New Testament that you can't quite figure out what it means, you can go look in what's called the Strong's Concordance, and it will give you a rundown of everything that it actually means. Okay, so a trespass. Did you know what trespass means? Sure, give him the link. Now, where do you come? Where are you speaking from, there, Mr. Nolan? Wow. And so you were just going through the various YouTube channels trying to see which one you wanted to show up on? Okay. All right. Now we have Mr. Matthew. All right. So, Mr. Matthew, are you also from Dallas? I can't hear you, sir. Still can't hear you. Okay, okay. So while he's getting there, a trespass, according. Okay. Same voice. All right.
Daddy, your little water bug is refusing to get out of the tub.
You have the most interesting microphone setup, Mr. Matthew. Just briefly heard. What device are you trying to use for the Google Meet, Mr. Matthew? Okie doke. Okie doke. I'll be watching. So, a trespass is specifically an accidental misstep into sin. Is that what Diddy did, or Epstein? Do you think it was accidental? All right, so if you forgive what other people did, it also means you don't talk about it. Now I can hear Matthew, just not on his own login. Yeah, I hear you, Nolan, but I don't. Nolan, Matthew hasn't logged back in yet, but I can hear him on your mic. All right. Why is it not? Oh, there it is. Now I can hear you. Yes, now I can hear you. Okay. But when it comes to Matthew 6:14, of where he says that if you forgive other people their trespasses, God can. Yes. Okay. All right. Sure. So Jesus said that if you forgive other people their trespasses, God will forgive you your trespasses. But if you do not forgive others their trespasses, God will not forgive yours. Are you saying that that you are against forgiveness? Can can I and talk with Matthew? Okay. All right. So, Mr. Matthew, you seem to have a carefree attitude about life, right? Okay. 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 And so when Jesus said to lay your life down, yes. Okay. Which is to lay down every way that you understand. Well, there's also the reality that the reborn part doesn't come about until the way that you want to do life dies. All right, so I'm guessing you're also in Dallas, Texas. Oh, East Coast. Okay. So when it comes down to trying to find out how to treat people like Diddy and Epstein, do you think that's how Mr. Nolan started it? All right. So when it comes to how to treat those who have made blatant sins, what do you think is God's choice of action? Hmm. Hmm. Right. Okay. All right. So how does that reflect into the rest of us who are following Jesus? How should we treat those who've done wrong? Right, right. So let's say you have done all the nasty things of Diddy. I don't think you're old. Let's say you're judged for doing all the things of Epstein. How would you want people to treat you? So when it comes to going through YouTube and finding the nicest live stream to pop in on, how do you treat those who you are able to pop in on? Because Jesus said, in the same way you have done to the least of these, you've done it to me. So how do you treat people who do you wrong? Okay. I like your approach, Mr. Matthew. How are you subscribed to the channel yet? Well, I tell you what, I live stream every night except Wednesdays. And I have on my community posts, I have a calendar that lets you know what the topics are for each night. So, if I was to tell you that there's a certain type of bitterness that keeps a person from walking in the love of God, which one would you say keeps someone from doing that? Sure. So there's certain levels of bitterness that keeps a person from being able to walk in the love of God. Which type of bitterness do you think would keep someone out? Hmm. Gotcha, gotcha. So I'm gonna copy something into the Google Meet chat. It's kind of a long, it's kind of a long list, but out of, I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Well, thanks. All right, you too, and thanks for stopping by. Okay, that was neat. Unexpected, but neat. For those who are wondering what I just copied and pasted, will this move? Will this? Yeah, no, it won't. All right. So coming up on Friday, because I realized I'm not exactly. I realized that I was not leaving a space to talk about bitterness or its reach on people. There are 15 types of bitterness that every person encounters to some degree in their life. And if you're not careful, that bitterness can keep you from walking in the love of God. Now, yeah, the other fellow dropped out, JP. He gone. Um, the thing about bitterness is when you are walking
walking in the things of God, and when you are trying to walk in the things of God, give me just one moment. I'm changing my hotkeys. Change that to 8, since I so rarely do 8. Okay. When you say that you're walking in the love of God, but then you have one of these 15 things standing against you. And I know Mr. Matthews saw the chat because it pops up. Any person who says, I'm very discerning, not mentioning any names, any person who says, I'm very discerning, if they're not able to see what's going on in their own life, they are bitter. It's not a popular thing to say. So,
Your mommy called you.
the goodness of God is that there is forgiveness. And as Matthew said so quickly and so on point, we are judged the sin, not the person. Here's what that looks like when you're judging the sin and not the person. Matthew, if you come back through, be cool if you did. If not, whatever. I pray that God will direct your paths. Here's how to judge the sin and not the person. Talk about the action, not the person. Talk about the words, not the person. Talk about the thoughts, not the person. Describe how you remember things. Now, does it line up with the way that Jesus remembers? And finally, in that whole spiel, do you recognize that they were influenced by the kingdom of darkness against themselves and against you? Do you forgive them for it? Because if you forgive a person for those things, you are on your way to seeing life the way that God does. But if you refuse to forgive the person, now we got an issue. Or rather, now you got an issue with God. Now it's all about, do you want to do heaven's way or your way? Since I don't have anyone else jumping into the stream, I'll give it another couple minutes. See if anybody else wants to jump in. And I recognize it's December 31st, the very first time that I'm doing anything with Instagram. I will have to put it into the description. If you are doing anything with Instagram and I'm sharing something, flip your screen horizontal so you can see it. Well, I think I'll go ahead and cut out. I did want to show you one thing though. And everybody in Instagram land, you're not going to be able to see this because it is the widescreen thing. But for those on Facebook and YouTube,
I have done some of those. But I don't know if you can see this over here. It's 8 hours. And that's for these fear of poverty, feeling that if you're wishing I were not born, excuse me, feeling that I've been rejected, fear of rejection, fear of authority, unable to perform properly, feelings of inferiority, a fear of insanity, spirit of fear, nightmares, phobias, self-rejection, being shy or timid, feelings of stress or tension, being or feeling tormented, abnormal grief, being or feeling defiled, depression, despair, loneliness, sadness, shame. A lot of these things are scenarios. Oh, a lot of these things are scenarios of all the lack of freedom that very many people have. And the reason they have this lack of freedom is because they are looking more into the situation and the scenario that they are in, much less the fact that they can repent and they can lay their life down. So, thank y'all for stopping by. Nothing tomorrow. And then back on Thursday, we'll back to tearing down altars of chaos. And, yeah. Now, for everybody on Telegram, I will have it in the description. It's not Telegram. Everybody on Instagram, I will have it in the description if you want to see what's going on. Or I'll have it in a comment if you're trying to see what's going on. Flip your screen to horizontal so that it all makes sense. For everybody at Telegram, or everybody at Facebook, everybody at YouTube, I thank y'all for being here. Y'all have a good evening. Happy New Year to those who are already in the new year, and a Happy New Year for those who are not yet.